much information as I can, to be honest. Those of you who know me will know that I've spent over 25 years now working with small businesses, helping them to become more effective, helping them to make more money and more profit in their business. And I've worked with literally thousands of businesses in hundreds of industries, pretty much all over the world. And today I wanted to talk to you about how can you be more successful, not successful long term, but successful in the short term. So in other words, how can you pay yourself more next month than you do this month? This month, if you're running a small business, you know roughly what you're going to get paid. And the big question is, how can you get yourself to a different level, shall we say, whatever that is for you. All right, it might not be where you want to go eventually. Eventually I'd love to have a multi-million pound business. But how can you step on the road? The old Chinese proverb is that, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So how do you take that step in the next month? So the first thing I'd say, and I think this is really, really important, almost to a level where if you don't actually do it, you won't be successful. And that is know what you want. You got to know what you want. What does success look like? If you want to pay yourself more, what does your business need to turn over? How much profit does it need to make in order to do that? So let's just assume, and I appreciate people listening to this podcast maybe on various levels. Some of you might run multi-million pound businesses, and you might your personal income could be £1 million a year. I don't know. Others will be a small business, you've just started off and you're struggling to pay yourself anything right now. So wherever you are, just consider this, but I'm just going to use what I think is a typical example. So I'm going to say that you pay yourself, I'll tell you what I'll do, just for easy reckoning, I'm going to say you pay yourself 120,000 a year. So that's 10,000 per month. And I appreciate that's probably a lot more than most of the people listening today, but I'll just use that so I can make the maths really easy. So obviously, without being an accountant, I can work out that is £10,000 a month. You see, that's amazing. I'm not only a marketing advisor, but a highly qualified accountant at the same time, he says with very tongue-in-cheek. So that said, what have we got to do to improve it? Well, first thing, as I've said, we've got to know what we want. So let's say I'd love to get that up 50%. I'd love to get to 15 grand per month for my own personal money. And let's say my business, turns over 50 per month. So what we've got to do is to work out how we can get the same percentage increase in our business as we do in myself. So if I want 50% more, we've got to try and work out what we can do to create more income in our business. So to do that, what we've got to do is to put a plan in place. You want to go from here to here. What are you going to do? You can't just hope. Hope is hopeless. If you're not going to do anything, it ain't going to make things any better. So we've got to know exactly what we've got to do. So you need to, I've not got time on this to tell you, right, these are the things you do. But, it does make sense that you need to focus more on selling and marketing your products and services. Even if it's just a matter of making more calls. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be that you need to understand the Google algorithm and do some SEO on your website. That might help in the long term, but it's probably not going to get any more dosh into your bank in the short term, and that's what we want. So what one idea might be to go and pick up the phone and speak to some past customers, speak to people you're connected to on LinkedIn, speak to prospects who you've probably not really followed up as well as you could. And let's just get on the phone and go and speak to people and set some meetings up and try to get that income in just in a real simple, easy way like that. Because I almost guarantee you, in fact I do guarantee you, that there's a little pot of gold sitting there waiting to be harvested just by you speaking to people. Now, step 3, so that's the first step. Know what you want, then take action based on a plan. Yeah. Step 3 is to measure whether it's working or not, and this is often missing from so many businesses. They know what they want, they sort of take action, but often that action's not very good or very much, and they just keep doing the same thing even though it's not working. And here lies the problem. So you've got to know the results that you're getting. So if, for example, you're going to pick up the phone, the question is, how many phone calls are you going to make every day? And then understanding, let's say after the first week, right, okay, I've made 50 calls this week. How many meetings have I got? Well, I got 5 meetings. I got 1 meeting every day from calling 10 people. Okay, well, there's your number. And then the next step, step 4, is to change your approach. So in other words, what can you do differently to improve the results that you're getting? Because at the moment you're making 50 calls a week and getting 5 meetings. So that's okay, you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong in that. That might be as good as it could possibly get. But it might be that we could improve that in some way. Simple way of doing it is, instead of making 10 calls a day, we make 20 calls a day. You know, based on averages, that would double the amount of meetings you get. Instead of getting 5 out of 50, you'd get 10 out of 100. Or perhaps you could get somebody to make those calls for you and make 50 calls a day. You know, I don't know your business, and I don't profess to be an expert in it, clearly, but I am an expert in marketing, and sometimes the simple stuff that works is better than the complicated stuff that doesn't. The other thing we could do, though, instead of making more calls, we could become better at making those calls. You know, if let's say a top, really, really good, highly trained salesperson got on the phone for you, do you think they'd make more sales than you would? Yeah, I don't know that, but I do think they might do. Let's put it another way. If you spent, let's say, an hour every day for the next 30 days training yourself in sales, particularly at selling on the phone or creating meetings on the phone, do you think you'd be better than you are now? Well, the answer is almost certainly, you know, unless you're doing that anyway, you know, becoming better on the phone is definitely a KPI, a key performance indicator for you and your business. So, you know, that again is really, really, really important. So that's step 4. So just to go back through them: step 1, know what you want. Step 2, have a plan and take action. Step 3, measure your plan to see if it's working or not. Step 4, if it's not working, change your approach. Change your approach and find something that works. Could be new words, could be new calls, could be calling different people. Is it better to call your past contacts or your LinkedIn contacts? I don't know. But what I do know is that by testing and measuring, you can produce better results. Now, there is here step 5. This is the last of the 5 steps to being successful. And this is all about, I think, what I call the icing on the cake. And that is to model success. Model success. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, find somebody who's got what you want, do the same things, get the same results. That's ultimately it. So find somebody with a great sales script. Find somebody who's good at selling. Go and look at somebody's website and see what you can model. Now, I want to be clear here, and when I say model success, I don't mean copy. I'm not suggesting that you should copy them. What I'm suggesting is that you model them, and the big difference in that is that you model a style, you model a concept. Let me give you an example. In my industry, what I call the helping industry, the helping businesses to grow type industry, consultancy, coaching, advice, call it what you will. The top guy in the world probably is a guy called Tony Robbins. Now, Tony is hugely successful. I believe he turns over something like 5 billion a year. That's with a B, 5 billion a year. So he's got the edge on me, let's put it that way. And if I go and look at Tony and I subscribe to his emails, I subscribe to his podcast, I look at his website, I watch his videos, I try and learn from him his sort of secret of success, because he must be doing something right. You with me? So if you could find who's the leader in your industry, who's the top dog, who's the best company in your industry that you could model. I don't copy. I don't nick the words off Tony's emails. What I do is I get his emails and I think, right, okay, what Tony's doing right now is offering a free gift for anybody who signs up to book a meeting with him. I'm just using this by way of an example. So every time somebody books a meeting with Tony to talk about their business, they get a free gift. Obviously, in this case, you're not going to get to speak to Tony, but rather one of his team. So you get a free something as a thank you for your time in doing so. So I think, yeah, that's a good idea. Steve could do that. I could do that. That's a great idea. So I model that idea. Do you get the difference? I hope you do. I'm hallucinating that you do, and I hope that's of value. So that's it. 5 steps. Know what you want. Take action. Have a plan. When you've taken action, measure what's working and what's not. Once you know that, you change your approach if it's not working, and model success. So that's everything. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and thanks very much for listening.